Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shifra.
I'm Shayan.
And we're from Abdi Hayat Fellowship. And today we are here to kind of conclude our series on families. And we're going to bring you the fifth commandment, which is honor your mother and father. As you know, our parents, Pastor Asif and his wife Nabila, we've been doing a whole series about having a family that's rooted in God and what role the father, the mother, what role they both play in that. And today we're going to complete that because no family is complete without children. We're going to finish that off and talk about what children have to do, what role we have to play in that.
For sure. I think one of the main things that stands out to me is that how important honoring your mother and father is as a commandment.
Yeah.
That I don't know about you, but it's so like intriguing to me that it's like in the middle.
Yeah.
Like it's not at the start, it's not at the end. Like the fact that it's the fifth commandment, it's like bang in the middle. Like whichever side you come at, you're always going to end at that.
Yeah.
And it's so important that that's like the root of like everything basically. I'm going to jump straight into what the Bible has to say, about honoring your parents. So we're going to turn to Ephesians chapter 6, and that's just verses 2 and 3. It says, "Honor your father and mother, that it may be well with you, and you may live long on the earth." I'll say it again. "Honor your father and mother, that it may be well with you, and you may live long on the earth." Now this verse is basically saying honoring your mother and father will not only benefit them, but it will also benefit you, and it will benefit, your future and your life. And I'm not saying at all, and the Bible's not saying in any way that, you should do things for the reward and you should do things for the outcome that it brings to you. And it doesn't say in any way that whatever you do in life, you should only do it if it benefits you.
Yeah.
It's not saying that at all. It's the only thing, what the Bible is saying is literally saying, do it with, your full heart, do it with your clear intentions, do it with a clear mind. And if you do that with that mindset, the benefit, you will reap the rewards. Basically. Anything in life, whether it's doing like an act of kindness, or if it's doing something for someone else, or doing a favor for anyone, it's always the mindset and the approach that behind that is more important than the actual action. Like as people say, like you could do something. There's an Urdu saying. What does Mama say when she's like, when we do a job, but it's not like to our full.
Gana.
Yes. So that basically means that you're doing a job just because you're being told to do it.
Yeah.
You're just doing it for the sake of doing it.
You're not doing it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's basically it. And that's what's important in this verse, that it's important to honor your mother and father willingly and with your whole heart and with a clear mind and with a clear, with just a clear conscience that, I'm just going to do it because I want to do it, because God wants me to do it. Oh, sorry. Oh gosh. I'm going to do it with a clear mindset and a clear heart. And if you do so with that, you will, basically reap the rewards, and God will bless you with that.
Yeah, as Shayan was speaking, I was reminded of the story of Cain and Abel. That Cain and Abel both had rewards they wanted to bring to the Lord. Abel had his first fruits of the harvest, and Cain had his finest sacrifice ready. But because Abel had a pure heart, and the intent behind what he was doing was pure, and it was to please God, and he wanted to please God. That's why Abel was blessed, and Cain's offering was denied. God didn't accept Cain's offering because Cain basically just wanted to do better than Abel.
Yeah, competition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So just to that, I think that kind of just backs the fact that God looks at the intent behind what you're doing. Even if you're, even if you're bringing your mum a glass of water, God will look at what you're thinking while you're doing that. If you're like, oh, why can't she just go get it herself? Compared to, okay, my mum's thirsty, there's something I can do about it, I'm going to go get her a glass of water. Yeah. And I think that's so, just reiterating what you said, that it's not about looking for the rewards, it's the intent behind it. Because if you're doing it with a clear intention, no matter what job you do, however big, however small, you're still going to do it, and God will see that.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. Do you want to... Yeah, so we've got another...
Yeah, cool. So we can go to the second Bible reading that I had on my notes. It's from Colossians chapter 3, verse 20. And it says, "Children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well-pleasing to the Lord." And that basically just, I think it's very similar to the last verse from Ephesians. It's basically, obey your parents in each and everything you do, whether it may sound like a drag sometimes, or it may sound like, oh, why don't they just do it themselves? But it's more of a mindset of, me growing up, they've taken care of me, they've done everything for me, and now if I'm at a point where I can take care of them, why shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Not because I have to repay them back, or I have to do it because they did it for me. It's more concentrating on your heart and how much compassion you have inside that, I'm going to do it not because they've asked me to, or not because they want me to, but because I'm going to do it willingly and out of my own doing. And it says this is well pleasing to the Lord. And if you can do something for your parents with a clear conscience and a clear, just like a clear heart, that the Lord sees that, and that makes God happy when you do that.
And I was just thinking that a lot of times people say that parents are like your angels on this earth. People say about mums, but I would definitely say about dads as well. Because if you're blessed with both a mum and a dad, you're twice as lucky as a lot of people out there. And parents are definitely your angels on earth. And if you angels are so high up, they're so holy that you wouldn't treat them with like the same respect you give to everyone. You would treat them with the utmost respect. You would treat them with everything you have. And I think that's something to remember, that when you're honoring your parents, you are honoring something that's just people that take care of you in your house. You are honoring a gift from God, and knowing that is what pleases God. That you should know that by doing that you're making God happy, and what else would you want from life?
Yeah.
So
precisely.
The second point that we wanted to talk about is that honor shouldn't end when we leave the home. I think a lot of the times we've seen people that they're like, oh, I'm scared of my parents. Like, my parents, I'm really afraid of them. Like, if I do this, then they're gonna ground me. And I think to some extent, punishment like grounding is acceptable. It's perfectly acceptable in disciplining your child. But I feel like the difference between fear and honor is that fear only stays when you're within a house with your parents, whereas honor stays when you go out, when you go out alone, when you're in a different country. No matter where you are, the honor will stay there, and you will be like, okay, how is this honoring my parents? How is this honoring the family name? How is this honoring God? And I think it's really, sometimes it can be a very fine line between fear and honor, but the main way I remember it is that honor stays with you wherever you go.
And it's so important with this word fear, because it's become such a loose word. Like it means so many things now, to be fearful or to be scared. Like, your parents, they're your parents. You don't need to be scared of them. Like, if anything, like, if you take yourself out of your shoes for 1 second, put yourself in your parents' shoes, maybe in your situation you think that, wow, my parents, like they have no idea, like everything's just so much, and like I'm so scared of my parents, But then the thing is, your parents are also like fearful every day too. Like, your parents are always like, oh, what, like, I hope I'm raising my kids right. I hope I'm raising them to be a good kid. And your parents are always questioning, even their even their parenting towards you. Every decision that they make, I'm sure they question it, like, was that the right thing to do? Was that the right thing to do? Like, I grounded my kid, was that the right thing to do? Like, they're always thinking like how to better themselves as parents, even 15, 20 years on. Like, I don't know how old you are, young person, but even like your parents are probably still thinking to this day, whenever they make decisions to do with your life, they're probably thinking, was it the right one? I hope this is beneficial, not to me, but to my child. Because parents will always put their kids first, no matter what. And it's so important to see it from a different perspective, and to be like, obviously I'm probably scared, but my parents are scared too of the littlest of things such as that.
And I think as children, sometimes it's so easy to be like, to think that your parents don't know best, and to think that this decision that they made, it was a rash decision, or they're doing it because they don't want you to have fun or whatever. But I think sometimes we complain like, Mom, why aren't you letting me do this? But I think at the end of the day, parents know a lot better than you do. parents have had years and years of experience, and they really do know what is best for you, because they are a gift from God to you. So I think sometimes you need to, instead of just complaining straight away, just kind of sit down and be like, okay, Mom, I understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate you looking out for me, and thank you for making this decision for me. Yeah, it might not make me popular, or me not being able to buy the latest trainers might make me beneath my friends, but it's fine. I know it's not my time right now, and one day when I do get what I want, I'll appreciate it that much more.
Yeah, and a bit like the biggest example that I have of that is when I was, growing up in school and stuff. Like obviously in school, that's when people start, hanging out and going out to like places to like chill, whether it's like the park or whether it's like parties and stuff like that. And I remember when I was younger, I was always like, obviously I wanted to go, but then my parents would like never let me. Even year 9, I wouldn't be able to go. Year 10, I wouldn't be able to go. Year 11, which is like, you feel like you're like the oldest, like the oldest people. Even year 11, I still wasn't allowed to go to like, like parties and hang out with my friends at their house and go to like the park. Like I had like my set activities, whether that was, going to play football, whether that was, doing other things, going to church, school. Like that was probably like my activities at the time. And I used to complain a lot, and I used to say, why are my parents letting me go out? I'm 15, like I'm so grown, like I can handle myself. But like now, like 5-6 years later, like I look back at that, I'm so grateful that my parents not so much held me back, but they sort of kept me disciplined in terms of what I wanted to do, and they kind of put barriers on what I was allowed to and what I wasn't.
Yeah. And
now that I'm at a point where I can pretty much like make decisions myself, whether that's if I wanted to go out, if I wanted to, go hang out with this friend, if I wanted to go play football, my parents are like, yeah, cool, go if you want. And it just it's like I know that discipline, and I know like now when I go out into the world, I see what people are doing and I see what's wrong and what's right. And not going when I was younger, I probably, if my parents allowed me to go out when I was younger, I probably wouldn't know the difference at this age now, because I would have seen it from such a young age. Now that I'm at this point where I'm a bit older, it would have just been like so normal to me. But because I hadn't seen that like from the start, now that when I go and I see all these things, I know what's wrong and I know what's right, and my parents trust me, and because they know how they've brought me up, and they know that when he goes out, he's gonna know what's right and what's wrong, and he's not gonna partake in anything, or he's gonna know what decisions to make. And I appreciate that massively.
And I think that goes a lot with honor not leaving when we leave the house, because especially Shan, how old are you?
21.
Shayan's 21, and so Shayan's got so many friends that at this age they've moved out. They're like paying their own bills. They're doing everything by themselves, and they find it so shocking that Shayan still asks for permission to, I don't know. You ask permission for almost everything. Like in his head, Shayan knows that mom and papa are gonna say yes, but Shayan will still ask for permission, saying, some of my friends are gonna go play football, can I go as well? And I think it's the respect that, okay, I'm living in your house, you are my guardian. Forget the whole like emotional part of it as well. You are my guardian. This is the respect I'm going to give to you by asking your permission to go out. And that's just on a basic level. But when you do that with the honor and the respect in your heart, when you do that with that in your heart, you're saying, okay, I respect the decision that you're going to make for me. I know this is the best decision you're going to make for me, and I appreciate you, whether or not you're going to let me do it, or whether or not you're not, whether or not you won't let me do it.
And it's exactly on that point. It's being like not allowed to go out from that time, and now I could have so easily just been spoiled and just been like, I'm going out, I'll be home at this time. I'm going out, I'll be home at this time. But now, even though I know that whenever I want to go out, my parents, they always say yes anyway. Like whenever I'm going to go out, because they trust me wholeheartedly, they're just like, yeah. And there's a difference between like telling them and asking them, and out of respect, like I'm still living in their house, I'm still doing this, like out of respect, I'm still like, can I go out? Even though I know the answer, I still just say, can I please go out? And that's just like an extra level of respect that they deserve.
Yeah.
So
Before we carry on anymore, as you know, Shalom, our brother, he's over in Washington, and he has a little something that he wants to say as well. So before we finish and before we carry on, let's just hear what Shalom has to say about this.
Okay, hey everyone. Thank you to Shayan and Zoe for handing off to me. If you guys don't know me, my name is Shalom. I am the younger brother and older brother for Zoe. But yeah, we're going to get straight into it. So I'm going to turn to Ephesians chapter 6 verse 4, which says, "Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in discipline and instruction of the Lord." First thing I want to talk about is parents as a kid. Parents should tend to emulate what they want their kids to learn. I think it's super easy for parents to tell their kids that we want you to do this, we want you to do that, and then go off and be something else. And it tends to get very confusing for kids, just to be like that really. Not seeing what their parents are teaching them in their parents' lives either. One good example is that whatever my parents taught me, which is a huge blessing, whatever my parents taught me, it's exactly what they acted like, what they do act like, what they will probably act like as well, 100%. So yeah, that's the main thing I would say. Second thing I would say is that there's a difference between teaching and provoking your children. When teaching, it's easy to, teaching is different than provoking rather, because you're sitting down with your kids and you're pointing it out in a way that you're like, hey, come on, let's work on this a little bit. I know you're going through this, you're finding this difficult, let's work on it. Provoking them, on the other hand, is calling everything out on them again and again. Prime example being that parents tend to do this thing where they sometimes, from examples that I've seen sometimes as well, is that in front of their kids to other people they'll be like, oh yeah, don't worry, he's like that, he's very slow, he doesn't do anything anyway, stuff like that. Not only does that, get children angry with their parents with like, oh dad, mom, dad, why are you saying that to so and so, like why are you telling them all this? It comes to that do not provoke your kids to anger, that kind of thing. But it also just lowers your children's respect for you. So yeah, those would be my main 2 points. I'm going to hand back up to Zoe and Shayan. But from my side, thank you to everyone. I hope you guys are doing well in this time. Obviously, I hope you guys are staying safe. And yeah, take care.
Thank you so much, Shalom, for that. We really appreciate what you had to say. I think that ties in really well with what we said about the difference between fear and honor, about fear being confined in a home, whereas honor staying in your heart and staying with you when you go out as well.
yeah, on that note, guys, I hope something that we've said, has either stuck with you or just resided with you. And I think we're just going to take this moment to just pray, and then, we'll carry on.
Yeah.
Father God, I thank you for just this opportunity that we get to, just spread your word and just spread, what you've laid out for us. And I thank you that you've allowed such things as technology that we can, reach out to not only, people that are tangible to us, but people that are just, across the world. And I thank you for just everyone tuned in. I thank you for all the young people tuned in especially. I pray that whoever, like any young person listening, I pray that God, you touch them and you speak to them through whatever we've said. And I pray that whatever we've said I pray that you allow them to, apply what we've said into their lives. And I pray that you allow them to be a tool and a vessel for, your kingdom, and allow you to work between their and their parents' relationships together, God.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for watching. It's been Shayan and Shifra. See ya.
Take care, guys.